guys, so this video was originally going to be posted on my Patreon page, which I guess now is a good time to talk about that for just a brief moment. I don't want to be annoying or pushy or anything like that, but I did create a Patreon a while ago and now I'm getting serious about it and posting some good things over there. So if you feel like supporting me on another platform, I will have a link to it down below, but by all means, there's no pressure to do any of that. But I'm not taking away content from you. I'm not one of those creators. I'm still giving you the same content here, except maybe not because this video was supposed to be over there today, but you know, we're doing it now on this channel, giving it to you. But I will be posting extra content over there, just some like random videos here and there. Every kind of psychology style video will still be posted on my main channel because I believe that the general public needs access to that, and it's not something I want to keep separate and like private almost, only for people who pay for it. That seems weird, so don't worry, my psychology videos are not going anywhere. But today was originally going to be a Patreon video until it kept happening to me. I was like, there are way too many coincidences for me to not do this on my main channel and for me to share it with more people because it is just weird. You might have seen Tana Mojo do a video like this. You might have seen Gabby Hanna do a video like this. I find them fascinating. Those are some of my favorite videos that they've ever done, and they're so entertaining for me, and I love these kind of things, so I thought I would share my weird experiences. Granted, these are not as extreme as Tana's and Gabby's by any means. They're just they were probably weirder for me, and you're gonna hear them and be like, that's stupid, that's so explainable, like you can explain that away, whatever. For instance, the first one was really subtle and not, this isn't the one that like sparked everything for me to like start writing all of these down, but this is just an example of some of the like the smaller ones that aren't as weird. I was in my parents' living room petting their cat Otto, and he was sitting on the chair and I was on the ground and I'm like petting him. Ryan's on the couch and I'm like, wow, Otto, your breath smells so bad. He's really old. He has like dental issues and just everything else going on. So just being an old cat, you know, they have a smell. And I'm like, wow, Otto, your breath smells so bad. And then literally a second after that, a TV commercial comes on the TV behind me. My back is to it. And it says something like pet odor, like cure it with this. And it was a commercial for some kind of pet thing for pet smells. And it was only weird because it was right after, like not even a second passed. It was like, wow, Otto, your breath smells so bad. Pet odor? That's literally how fast it was in that instant. So that's like one of the smaller ones that's like not as weird. And then the second one I'm going to talk about, I actually figured it out and explained it away already, but I thought I would tell you anyway because initially I was weirded out, okay? So I was watching Big Brother 18 from last year. As I do, I rewatch all the seasons. I just started Big Brother 19 over again. But my friend Allison snaps me, and this is during Halloween time, and she's at, I think, a spirit store, and she's wearing like a baby mask. And then I go back to Big Brother, go back to watching the show, and literally right then they're doing a competition in the dark. There is someone in the show that's playing a scare actor in the show wearing the same mask. Like literally a minute after I'd opened her snap, they started the competition and there was that person wearing the same mask. The reason why I initially thought this was weird is because that show was from last year. So why do they have the same mask as a Spirit Halloween this year? Two things to that. One, obviously Spirit recycles masks all the time, every single year, so that's not surprising. But two, the reason why I know this is debunked completely, the timing was still weird, but it's debunked because the mask that Allison was wearing, I realized, was from Happy Death Day. The mascot in that movie for the college that she attends is a baby, which I don't know why that is, but so the mask that Allison was wearing was from Happy Death Day, was a baby, the baby mascot. And so obviously it can't be the same exact mask as it was from last year on Big Brother because that mask didn't exist. It was still a baby mask though, the one in the show. So it was still bizarre, but not as weird because it wasn't the same exact mask as I thought it was. This next one, granted, these feel dumb when you say them out loud, but in the moment they feel so bizarre to experience. But this next one was one that was like, oh my god, what the heck? Like, it was weird for me to live through. So I was scrolling through Twitter, as I do, and there was an article that said scariest 2-sentence stories. And I'm like, oh cool, I'll give that a chance. I love short, like, micro-fiction or micro-horror stories. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna read this article. They were really dumb. I only read a few of them because I didn't like them at all. But this one is the one that I found. I took a screenshot of it. You see that? Walter White. It says, the new episode of Breaking Bad was great last night, he said. They hadn't made a new episode of Breaking Bad in over a year. I don't know how that's a scary story or supposed to be a horror story by any means. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I read like 2 more after that. Went back to Twitter because I closed out that app. Literally right then, well, I scrolled down like 3 tweets. It was like a few tweets after that. BuzzFeed tweets a story that says people won't stop throwing pizzas on the Breaking Bad house and they have to build a fence. When did Breaking Bad end? Long time ago. Why is BuzzFeed just now? I mean, I guess this happened a long time ago too. Maybe it's a new story about the same instance, but I remember when the show was airing or after it aired, there were people throwing pizzas on the Breaking Bad house. And so I don't know if this is like a new situation where this is happening again, or BuzzFeed just decided to tweet about it then when it's been done, and that's, I don't understand. It was very strange. So BuzzFeed's been over, or BuzzFeed, Breaking Bad has been over for so long. One of my favorite shows of all time, by the way. But it's been over for so long, and I don't understand why I read a story about Breaking Bad airing over a year ago, and then right after that BuzzFeed tweets out a story about people won't stop throwing pizzas on the Breaking Bad house. I was scrolling through people on Instagram. One of my things for my job that I don't work at anymore, which by the way I did quit my job, my other job announcement. I announced it in my vlog. I haven't uploaded that vlog yet, but and on Twitter. But one of my things for the job was to find possible brand ambassadors. So one of the things that I would do is go through Instagram, scroll through a bunch of different people that we might want to work with. Obviously I don't do that anymore, but throughout doing that I found this creator named Kelsey Simone, who is a YouTuber. You might know her. I will link her channel down below because I do like her and her aesthetic. It's very, very cute and Tumblr. So then I follow her because I'm like, oh, I subscribe to her on YouTube, I should follow her Instagram. And then I go back to my feed, I just hit home, and the first post on my Instagram is of Kelsey Simone, but not posted by her. And that's the first post on my page. I'll link their Instagram down below if you don't believe me. Maybe it's still up there. But it wasn't Kelsey Simone. And I don't know if it's because I followed her and she was tagged in that post and it decided to show me something from, you know, someone I just followed, or like something that was relevant, you know, but because of the algorithm it was posted 15 hours prior. I just thought it was so bizarre that I decided to follow her, and then I go and hit home and the first post that's on the top is of her but not posted by her. So this next one, I am driving to my friend Kelsey's house to start house sitting. I think it was the first night. I'm listening to No Sleep podcast. I wrote down the episode and the season that it was because I wanted to have a reference point just in case I ever wanted to go back or you wanted to listen to it and you don't believe me. Season 4, episode 25 of No Sleep. That's another thing I do is I go back and re-listen to a lot of podcasts that I had already listened to. No Sleep is my favorite podcast, by the way. So I'm driving to Kelsey's house, and obviously one of my biggest fears is car accidents. This isn't that weird part of it, but the story was really good, by the way. It started with people calling in and reporting that cars had been driving off the side of the road over the guardrail, and they just drove off, didn't even slow down. That was like the beginning part of the story. Is a bunch of 911 calls and things like that cars were driving funny, right? So that was kind of weird. I'm like, oh, I'm driving on the freeway and there's tons of guardrails because I was going up to the mountains, and so there's like cliffs and things like that. So that was kind of strange. I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then it starts to describe more of the story about a couple who's going to a friend's house or a little house up in the mountains to babysit 3 children. And I am on my way to my friend's house in the mountains to watch her 3 pets. Then there's another part of the story that gets really strangely accurate to my life. It goes on to talk more about the couple and how the guy looks at his wife after they got dressed up for something and thinks that she's the most beautiful woman he's ever seen. But the fact that she won't ever believe that because she's super self-conscious because she is older than him, and that's always bothered her a little bit. Well, as I get older, one of the things is that I feel more self-conscious, the fact that I'm older than my boyfriend by 4 years. As I get older, I get, you know, I don't freak out about it or get too worried about it, but it is something that I think about because I'm going to hit 30 while he's still 26. So it is something that I think about, and that's kind of, I even addressed it to Ryan previously than the story, like a few days before the story, before I heard it, that it was something that was on my mind, and I'm like, just weird. I'm a weird girl about that, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was weird. So there were like 3, maybe 2 aspects of that story that were very bizarre and like just hitting me while I'm like driving to the house. It was strange. I hope you followed that one because there was a lot of factors into that one. There were a lot of other weird things that weren't necessarily as jarring. For instance, there was an ad from Gemma Wade, who I follow on Instagram. I was just on Instagram, and she was advertising ghost perfumes, and literally the post right below it was someone dressed as a ghost. It wasn't that weird because it was Halloween time, so like that's not that weird. The next one's a little bit weirder. I was at my friend Kelsey's house, as I mentioned, house sitting. I house sat there for 8 days, or 8 days total, 8 nights, and about 3 different times during that 8 days, there was a little noise that would happen. It's like a ringtone almost, but just like a little beep 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 kind of thing. It was just a phone chime, and I just assumed it was her iPad that they use for the internet. Then the day I get home from house sitting, on Monday, this last Monday, I'm sitting talking to my mom, and all of a sudden her phone makes the exact same chime. It's probably not that weird. They probably have the same company of technology. It was probably LG or something like that. But I was like, Mom, what was that? Was that your phone? Did your phone just make that noise? Because I've been hearing that a lot over the last 8 days up at Kelsey's house. This next one might be a little bit personal, so sorry, Dad, if you're watching this. But so I went and saw Happy Death Day, and there was a scene where the girl meets up with her dad finally in the movie because it's her birthday, and they had just postponed it. And it's really emotional, and it got me emotional because it's just personal, and so it got me thinking that I haven't really talked to my dad in a really long time, probably, you know, since my birthday, really, and I was like, I should reach out to him. And then that night, he sends me a text. It's weird, right? I haven't really heard from him. The last time I really talked to him was like July for his birthday, and that was over text, but I think I talked to him on the phone like back in March. So I was like, the movie had me thinking I should really talk to him more, or like reach out to him or whatever. And so he sends me a text that night. Now that I think about it, that one's really weird. That one's pretty weird, not gonna lie. So that's all that I have written down on my phone of all the weird coincidences that I've been experiencing. That's literally in the past month, and ever since, they just keep happening to me. So if you want part 2, I'll just keep writing them down. I don't know if they'll keep happening or if I'll just notice weird things and then write them down. If you want me to write the smaller ones down too and tell you, I can. Like, some of these were kind of smaller, but there were some bigger ones that were a little bit more strange. I don't know. You tell me. Are these, I mean, these can be explained, obviously. That's why they're called coincidences. They're not fate or signs of anything. But I still think they're interesting to hear about and like fun to talk about. Like, one of my favorite things is telling my boyfriend every time one of these things happens, because it keeps happening now that I've been writing them down. So let me know if you enjoyed this video, or if it was pretty random. It's pretty random. I'm sorry, it's really random. But hopefully you like these kind of videos. I want to do more fun kind of things like this. So if you have any ideas, please leave them in the comments. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.